In today's live stream video, I'm going to discuss with my guest his reselling business, and we'll also open up the show to a reseller Ask Me Anything. He'll share his tips and strategies to help make us more successful and profitable resellers. Every Wednesday, I have a live stream, and I usually interview another reseller, and I have them share their tips, tricks, and techniques to make us more successful and profitable resellers. If you're interested in reselling, then you are in the right place. Just going to pop in the chat, guys, say hello to a few people, and then we could get started very shortly. I'm excited to have my guest on. It's been quite some time since he's been on my channel, and I'm sure all of you know who he is. So just want to say hello to a few people, and we'll get started very shortly. So earlier in the chat, I saw Lisa was here. I appreciate you always being here, Lisa. Beth, I understand you'll be watching the replay. Appreciate it. Mike, flipping good. He's always good to see you, my friend. Randy, of course, you know I appreciate you being my moderator. Ed, good to see you, my friend. Michelle, thank you. Okay, guys, I'm sure the chat will be filling in shortly, so we'll bring our guest on. So again, like I said, I know all of you know who my guest is. We're going to bring on Casey, the Rockstar Flipper, and have him introduce himself. Hello, sir.
Hello, welcome in, everybody. Good evening. Happy Thursday, June 2nd. We're in a whole new month.
It's June.
Yeah. So, is today Wednesday? No, Randy, it's Thursday. Unfortunately, I had a personal issue. I'll just tell everyone. We came home last night a couple hours before the scheduled live show to discover the dog, Chewy. Chewy's my co-pilot. Chewy's also my PETA, pain in the you can finish it. He had eaten a whole bunch of, not a whole bunch, but 3 or 4 chicken wing bones. And we had to rush into the vet. He's okay. But we were terrified that he had torn himself apart, and we're just waiting for him to pass it. So we had to take a vet trip last night. So we had to reschedule, but I appreciate everyone being here tonight, and I'm excited to start chatting about it. A lot of updates and a lot of news with eBay. So Adam, what are you excited about?
I'm very excited. Like I said, it's been a very long time since Casey's been on. eBay Open, before everything happened in the world. We had Casey on live from the Mandalay Bay. And he was on one other time in that year, and it's been that long since Casey's been on my channel.
The world ended, and everything else stopped. Yeah. So we actually were in the hallway of Mandalay Bay. We were with Scott.
Shane, Rise and Grind Picker.
Yeah, Rise and Grind Picker. I was drawing the names, but
right.
Yeah. So we were in the hallway there, kind of like the lobby, the front area of Mandalay Bay, and we did a live show.
You got
I have somebody over at the house right now. Oh, it's okay, buddy. So that was the last live show, and then of course we left in August, or that was the first week of August.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay, buddy. And then we had COVID start in December, January, and everything shut down in February, March. So nobody went to eBay Open that year. Nobody went to, my wallet's hurting. Somebody said that Chewy is okay, but my wallet's hurting. Yeah, that's true. So that end of that year, e-commerce blew up, right? Like everybody made money in 2020/21. A lot of things changed, a lot of updates. And that was probably, I stopped doing live shows the end of that year, actually my own live shows. I got a lot of wholesale stuff, so I was really busy and distracted, and I just didn't do live. It wasn't just Adam. I didn't do live shows with anyone. I think people probably remember that.
Well, we used to do lives every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern,
yeah.
And for over 3 years, I was the moderator for Casey, so that was a lot of live streams we did over the years. And one of my favorite things that Casey did, he would always have some kind of topic, and he would talk about, but he would always do what I'm calling an Ask Me Anything.
Yeah.
So after he would discuss what he wanted to discuss, he would open up questions to the chat. So guys, we're going to do that. Like I said, I just want to run through Casey. It's been so long to have Casey on. Just want to get caught up on everything he's doing. I want to go back to when I said I had him on several years ago when he told us how he got into reselling. Some of you guys probably didn't see that video. So Casey, why don't you tell us, back in the day, Casey, the Rockstar Flipper in Baltimore, and what you were doing and rolling into your selling cell phones, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, so moved to Florida in 2005. Before that, I was born in 85, so that was 20 years old. So before that, high school, graduated, a little bit of college. I took business for 2 years. College wasn't really my thing. And so I decided my parents retired to Florida. And then I decided, okay, at first I didn't want to, but then I just gave in and moved to Florida. started with Craigslist because my parents wanted me to get a job and I didn't want a job. So I was really crafty on Craigslist already prior to coming to Florida. I would buy and sell stuff that I needed. And so when I got here, Florida had a lot of people using it. Now, mind you, Craigslist did not have a actual buy it now section, like a merchandise section. They had a general, like it wasn't separated into categories like electronics and furniture. That didn't exist, not in 2005. So I would just go in the general section. I would scroll all day long, refresh, looking for anything that was underpriced or that was like right what it was worth. So if something was worth $80 and I saw it posted for 75 or 80 bucks, I just message them and be like, look, I know you want 80. I got 60 bucks. It's right now. Take it or leave it. And a lot of people would say no. A lot of people would go, okay, I'll take it. And some people would call me back hours later. If I could buy it for 60, 50, and then put it right back up for 80, I'd make 30 or 40 bucks. Well, at the time in 2005, minimum wage was like $8, $7. So to make $30 or $40 was almost like a day's work, right? Like you literally would work 8-hour shift at $8 an hour for 64 bucks. You could sell 2 items and make more money than going to work all day. And that's what I would do. My goal was like 2 items a day at $25, $30 each. And I did it. I sold a lot of car audio. I knew a lot about amplifiers and speakers, like the little speakers for cars and subs. So I did a lot of that. But I also knew a lot about Magic the Gathering, which was a trading card game. If you don't know what it is, Google it. But as a teenager, I played it. I actually played professionally. I was rated and ranked in Pro Tours. And so I knew a lot about the values of the cards. They were very valuable. They're even more valuable now. But I was able to buy collections off Craigslist. I would start looking through Craigslist for collections that were 200 bucks for a collection. And then I would buy the whole thing and then I would piece it out and make like 400 or 500 bucks. My parents were impressed. I started showing them the money. My bank account grew. I was able to buy a car. When I bought the car, we lived an hour from Tampa. I could drive to Tampa for more deals because the little city we lived in had some deals, but obviously Tampa, big city, big people, that made sense. Sure. So started making more money. And that's when I found eBay, 2006, 2007, year and a half later. And eBay had money orders. So you would ship your items, get a money order, and literally you were sticking trading cards in little top loaders, sticking them into the envelope, shipping them off, and getting a money order back. Like even cash, people sent cash. For all the old timers in here, they probably remember those days. Yeah. And I realized the collections I was buying for 200 and selling for 400 locally, I could sell for 600 or 800 on eBay. So that's when I discovered eBay and started doing that. And then it was just rolling on. I was saving furiously to get an apartment closer to Tampa so that I didn't have to drive because I was spending 100, 200 bucks in gas. And the little car that I bought, I was like pumping money into it to keep it running because I didn't buy, an expensive car. It was just something to run with. And that's how we got started. And eventually it took me 2 years later, 2009, 2010, I got an apartment. And then deals were just showing up at my door. Craigslist. Remember, back then there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, there was no Poshmark, none of that existed. Facebook came out in 2007. So there was none of that. Facebook Marketplace.
No Facebook Marketplace, yeah.
Yeah, none of that existed. So imagine the only resource you had, there was no OfferUp, no Let Go, none of that. The only resource you had was Craigslist. Or you could pay to have a newspaper ad, I suppose, or something along those lines. But yeah, that was it. So the only reasonable thing I could think of beyond that was I bought a box of 1,000 business cards. The front of it, I didn't have a Rockstar Flipper name. I didn't have any name. It was just like Casey and I buy stuff, and on the back.
Casey and I buy stuff. I like it.
Yeah, like literally, like here's my name. I'll buy stuff, and on the back it just had rows. Like it would say Magic the Gathering cards, electronics, car audio, tools. Because my dad knew a lot about tools. My dad's a contractor, and so like I would just put a lot of stuff. We bought a box of tools off this guy that was socket sets and wrenches. He sold them to us for like $100 or something, and we were able to part those out for like $400 or $500. And then yeah, so that's basically how it started rolling along. And as we went, once I moved to Tampa, I discovered storage units. That was the next thing that we did before storage units were on TV, mind you.
I was gonna say, yeah, before Storage Wars and everything went
completely. Yeah, before everything blew up. Yeah, Storage Wars became a big thing a couple years later. But I was able to buy storage units because obviously, and this goes into my whole realm, which I'll talk about later, but when you go to thrift stores or yard sales, you're buying one item, right? Like you're buying one thing at a time, one item. Maybe you grab a few items from a yard sale, but you're piece lotting. We call it piece lotting. We're buying just individual items. When you go to a storage unit, you're buying a whole bunch of items. And so my thing was, how can I buy a bunch of stuff at once? So this was pre-wholesale Casey, before Casey realized what wholesale was. Like, I'm gonna buy storage units. I don't know how many people in the chat have ever bought storage units, but yeah, I bought them. And then in the apartment that we had, I don't know, does anybody here have an apartment or ever had an apartment where they had that garage, that rentable outside, like they had a row of garages and you could rent one of the garages? Well, I didn't care about my little $2,000 car parking in there. I rented the garage, so all the crap that I bought from the storage unit, I could put in the garage. But I was limited to, obviously space. So like 1 or 2 storage units. And then I had to sell as much as I could to buy, more stuff. Otherwise, I had nowhere to put it. The apartment got full. As you can imagine, the bedrooms were full. I had just met Kate, so we were dating. We didn't live together yet. And yeah, it was soon after we did. But
Kate was wondering, who is this hoarder that has all this stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I kept one bedroom full of stuff, but my bedroom and the rest of the place were clean. Like it was not bad. So she didn't, and she understood, because I started taking her once I got to the storage units. Back then, they were in person. You bid just like you see on Storage Wars, but now a lot of them are online.
They're virtual. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of virtual. So when you were in person, you met a lot of people, because there'd be like 20, 30 people there bidding. And I met a lot of people that went to some live auctions. In fact, there was a live auction at the time. It was about 30, 40 minutes away. Actually, where it was is right down the street from where I live now. It's since gone out of business. The old gentleman that owned it died, and his son didn't want to keep it up. But we used to go to those live auctions, because the storage units, you would bid on them, and sometimes you'd get some, sometimes you wouldn't. But every Thursday was a live auction, and we would go to the live auctions from like 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Thursday, buy stuff, but also wait till the auction was over, and everything that didn't sell, they'd lot it all up on a pallet or a table, and you could buy it all. And so, what's up, Myra? I see Myra, Rosie, DuPage Picker. I didn't even see him in the chat. What's up?
Greg's in the chat.
Hope you're feeling good. Rosie,
keeping your thoughts and prayers, Greg.
Yeah, DuPage. Yeah, we talked about you with Katie and Vicky when they were down at dinner one night. So yeah, definitely thinking about him. Yeah, so the live auctions was like kind of an add-on to my storage unit. It just gave me more junk. And I say junk, but man, we were spending $200, $300, $400 in a night, and it'd be $3,000-$4,000 worth of merchandise. And that's when I got rid of the little junky car and bought a Hummer, which at the time was a huge leap for me, because I owned that car outright. I think I paid $2,400 for it or something.
What they get, about 10 miles a gallon back in the day? Yeah.
So here's the funny thing. When I bought the Hummer, I don't know if everybody remembers, we're going through the same thing we went through back then. So circa 2008 or 9 during the crash, gas was $2 a gallon.
Which was a lot back then. Yeah.
Yeah. But then it shot up to like $4.
Yeah.
And we had the whole same thing happening. And so I buy the Hummer at $2 a gallon.
Yeah, wasn't exactly the right time to be buying a Hummer.
No, well, I bought it, and literally the day I bought it, it was like $2 a gallon. And I'm like, I know it doesn't get a lot. I was going to buy a pickup truck. Kate was mad at me, but I'm like, I can stuff this Hummer with so much stuff. And I loved it. And that car payment, I bought it used. It was a couple years old. It had 20, 30,000 miles on it. I think the car payment was around $450, which was nuts, because I never had a $450 car payment in my life. And I was like, this is insane. What am I doing? But it enabled me to haul a ton of merchandise. Well, within 3 months, gas was $4 a gallon, and I was mad. I was so angry, upset, but there was nothing I could do about it. I just had to suck it up, and I did the math, and I was spending like an extra $70 or $80 a month on gas. I was like, whatever. So that's how I went. That's what I did. And live auctions were fantastic, buying out the inventory. And then during the rest of the week, after Thursday, I'd pick up all my stuff. The rest of the week, I'd look for storage units. If I needed inventory, I didn't. We'd have, once we got out of the apartment, which I had for 2 years, and we got a house, I could have garage sales every Saturday. So I had garage sales every Saturday, 4 Saturdays a month. And we would do $600, $800, $900 a week in garage sales. We were doing $2,000-$3,000 a month in garage sales easily.
I didn't realize that. I don't remember you doing garage sales. I've forgotten about that.
Yeah, so that was 2008, 9-ish, maybe 10. And because the neighborhood I moved into had no HOA. A lot of Florida neighborhoods have HOA. We didn't. We had no HOA. So we could have garage sales every day if we wanted. And but we did it once every Saturday, sometimes Sundays, just dependent. And that was all the leftover inventory. The good stuff I was selling on eBay. The good stuff I was selling direct on Craigslist. We still didn't have Facebook Marketplace yet. But I would put out, a car audio, $40 on Craigslist. Sweet, buy it. Those items would pay for the whole thing, and then all my garage sales would profit. And we were really starting to make some money. We were doing $3 or $4 grand in garage sales, $3 or $4 grand on eBay. It was more money than I ever seen. And that's when I was like, okay, now we need to, I got rid of the Hummer. I got a car. And I was like, we really need to start, buying stuff that's smaller. My whole thing was, I don't want to haul this junk anymore. I kind of got tired of it. I got worn out of packing and shipping and hauling all this big stuff. And I bought a storage unit that was full of a cell phone store that had gone out of business. Had phones, it had cases, it had accessories. And I really paid up. I paid $3,000 or $4,000 for that unit, which was the most I ever paid. Most of my units were $400 or $500. And that unit ended up being worth over 25 grand. Yep.
It's a lot of money back then. Yeah.
Yeah. Back then it was huge. And it only took me 3 or 4 months to really make that kind of money. Right. So we had made, call it $6,000 a month on that unit alone. And we still had all our other stuff. And I was like, wow, like cell phones is back then. So let me give you an idea of what phones we sold. We got T-Mobile light up sidekicks. The Motorola Razors. Yeah. Everybody remembers those. The newest phone at the time was some of the first touchscreen phones, the Palm Pre, the little slide up Palm Pre, the Palm Treos, the very first Android phone in 2009, I believe, or 10. It was the Google G2, the Android phone. All those were brand spanking new. And we had a bunch of them in this unit. Yeah, we made a lot of money. And that's when I really felt like, I'm like, cell phones is the world. Like everyone's got them. It's big. And then we started, slowly stopping the auctions, stopping the storage units and buying cell phones. I would put up ads all over the internet. Like I buy phones, I buy accessories, and then everyone just blew up my phone. I made new business cards, new 3x5 cards, new advertisements. I was blowing up. Facebook finally had a spot. They didn't have Marketplace. Maybe Adam knows. They had a thing. It was linked. Kazam.
Kazam sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, somebody in the chat might know for sure, but that was kind of their thing. They bought it from a Canadian company or something, and you could advertise, and I made a lot. Backpage. I know everybody has a really bad opinion of Backpage because of what it ended up being, but Backpage actually had a marketplace, and I would make money off of it. People would advertise their stuff for sale or what have you. And so, yeah, there was a lot of, and this story just kind of tells the transition of what it takes to go from, you always have to be adapting, right?
One thing I say every single show, the only thing that's permanent is change. You have to constantly be adapting your business.
Yeah. And could I have continued on the realm of Craigslist and live auctions and all, storage units possibly? Yeah, of course I could have continued doing that probably now, even though I couldn't have predicted it that the owner was going to die. Anybody who's local around here, his name was Butterfield, Wayne Butterfield, Butterfield's Auctions. And his son inherited the building and the business, but that wasn't his thing. And so one day, people that went to those auctions every day woke up, Wayne Butterfield passes away. The guy was 80 years old and had owned that place for 30 years. He passes away, and the son puts out a message that the auction's over. What do you do? What if you relied on that? What if that was your business?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you wake up one day and your source is gone. And this is why I tell you got to have more than one source. You cannot have one source. I hate the people that are like, oh, I buy $10,000 worth of inventory from Adam every single month. And I'm like, what happens if Adam goes out of business? What if Adam bumps his head tomorrow? What do you do?
Chris Lee, right?
Yeah. I mean,
that video on that.
Yeah, that's one example. Yeah, I mean, and it happens. It's not a far-fetched idea. Again, if I had relied on Butterfield's auctions for everything, I would have been up a creek without a boat or a paddle. Like
exactly.
That would have been the end of days. So yeah, and then storage unit, people are like, oh, you could have went back to storage units. Well, at that time, 2 years later, they were on TV. They were everywhere. It went from 20 people at an auction to 200 people. You couldn't buy an auction. Auctions I was buying for $300 were like $2,000 now. There was just no money to be made. I gave up. And then once they went to the internet, yikes, like people were bidding them up. Like even to now, you know, there's a lot of storage unit buyers. Wade is very successful at it. Jason did very well at it.
Right.
And it can still be done. It's hard here in Florida. There's a lot of competition, but it wasn't like it was back in the day. So that's, you know, thank God I was on the cell phone thing. And even the cell phone thing, you know, aside from all the issues that I had, but a lot of people got into that business. And so
that's another story. We don't have time for
that's
that.
another story for another day. But hey, Niche Lady, Danny just jumped in the chat. Welcome in. So they've all gone to online. Yeah. And there was a lot of transitioning too. How many people in the chat use Goodwill bids? Goodwill, what is it called? Shopgoodwill.com.
Shop Goodwill, yeah.
Yeah, for online bids. Did that a lot. A good story. No, Myra, that is not a good story. The cell phone world was a very tough. It is. You know what? It all worked out. I made a lot of money. It cost me some money, but at the end of the time, it was a learning experience. It paid a lot of bills for a lot of years, and what money it cost me was just, you know, a tax write-off and a learning experience. So it is what it is. But yeah, Danny in the chat. Danny knows a little bit about online auctions and live auctions and Shop Goodwill. She does a little bit of all that. So
absolutely, I would love to have her one day join me.
Yeah, Danny, you should. I just transitioned. I just looked for new ways to do things. I looked for all that stuff, and the cell phone world worked amazing from 2010. So we're up to, you know, 10, 11, all the way through 14. Some stuff happened at the end of 13 through 14. I continued with cell phones into 15, and I didn't stop cell phones because of what happened to me. Long story short, I was involved in a civil litigation, but the company that I was actually involved with, funny enough, they're out of business now. They were bought out by
they're acquired by T-Mobile.
Yeah. By T-Mobile, yeah. So it was Sprint. I'm allowed to talk about it now. It's completely done and beyond that. But the civil litigation didn't cause me to stop. I still did cell phones. That part of my business was only 10%. And what happened with that was whatever. I stopped it for my own well-being. There was a lot of things that went on in that business that
there were stolen phones and all
there was a lot. I got offered a lot of bad phones, stolen, fraud, all this, which was never an issue for us. We always check stuff, but there was just a lot of stuff to deal with that I just got stressed out over dealing with. And I'm like, I need a new route. And so
pivot. Yep.
Yeah. And and you can, let me tell you guys, like, life lesson, get your notebook out right now.
Write it down.
You can always tell when change is coming. It's not something that happens overnight, ever. When I think back to the auctions, I knew that Wayne Butterfield was sick. He stopped coming to auctions. People were talking about his health. I knew that storage units were going to be a problem because when they first got on TV, I watched the initial season 1, episode 1 of Storage Wars. It blew up. Like, modern day viral video. I was like, this is not good. Like, the next auction I went to had like 10 times the people. And I was like, that's not good. Like, this is bad. So that, you know, yeah, I still bought stuff, but over the next few months, I knew you always have a chance to address change. Like, you can see it coming. If you don't see it coming, then you're just not paying attention to your business. So I saw the cell phone world coming to an end. Even before the lawsuit, the civil litigation, I sort of thought to myself, like, I need to find something to start building. And yeah, Storage Wars definitely killed the market, Danny. There's no doubt. So with that said, I started going on YouTube because it was at that point when I was like, well, the Storage Wars ended up on YouTube. And they had just started filming not filming a show, but a YouTuber out in a town about an hour from me had another live auction, which I considered going to, and they were filming it and putting it on YouTube. And when I watched that video, there was a guy called the Redneck Picker.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I had no idea what happened to that guy to this day. He didn't respond or anything. But Redneck Picker showed himself. He lived in California, San Diego, I think. And he would go to, what's that place called? The Rose Bowl, the swap meet. And he would talk about all these thrift store items and all these garage sale and these people that would bring all this stuff. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, look at all this amazing stuff. And of course, what did I do the next day? I go on YouTube and I start looking up thrift stores and garage sales, and people were making videos about it, which was crazy, but not many videos. I mean, there was few and far between, circa 2000, I want to say 15, like beginning of 15. So I started my YouTube channel at the end of 15. So the beginning of 15, I find Bonafide Hustler, Steve Rakin, College Picker.
Make that cheddar.
Yeah, make that cheddar, flipping bikes. So yeah. So I start, like, me and Kate were obviously living together at this time, and, you know, she knew everything that I was going through and all this stuff. I'm up, she's waking up next to me at 4, 5, 6 in the morning, and I've got Bonafide Hustler on my YouTube. And she's like, if you don't put headphones in, I'm gonna bonafide that MacBook over your head. Yeah. And that was it. I was off and running. The thrift stores, by Monday morning, I was at every Goodwill, every Salvation Army, and I was just buy. So again, another pivot point. And I don't know, anybody in the chat, does anybody like resonate with this whole pivot thing? Because it's been a nonstop change. And I thrifted from 2015. If you go back and watch my YouTube videos, 16, 17, 18, I was going to thrift stores, Goodwills. I eventually added pawn shops because I loved electronics, and pawn shops to me were just another thrift store, but just full of goodies like electronics and tools and stuff, which I knew a lot about. So,
and you could barter and, you know, bargain.
Yeah, the pawn shops all took my resale certificate, which was amazing.
Right. So you have to pay sales tax, right?
Yeah, no sales tax,
right.
All that stuff. Yeah, so it was very, very cool, and I could buy a lot of good stuff. That was the next 3 or 4 years of my life, my 2015 to 2019. And at some point at the end of 15 or 16, I, in all my glory, decided I should video this stuff because it's cool. And that's where the YouTube channel came from. And it ran for the next 3 or 4 years. And that was up until, you know, wholesale came into my life. And I decided that running around town, buying one item at a time, like I had done way back in 2007, 8, 9, what was my next pivot? Well, back then, what did I do? How do I buy a bunch of stuff at once? Now we're back to me buying one thing at a time at thrift stores and pawn shops. How do I buy a lot of stuff at once? And that's where we are, you know, fast forward to today. That's where, you know, now I don't go to thrift stores or yard sales or garage sales. I do it for the fun of it. You'll see me post a video here and there, but everything I buy delivers either right here to my house or right to my storage unit, back to the whole storage unit. How ironic, right?
Yeah, it's like, again, guys, and the reason I say that every single show, anything that's program has changed, you have to constantly adapt. And like Casey says, usually there are some kind of telltale signs that things are changing. So, you know, be alert and be prepared and be able to pivot and make changes.
Yeah, and I think I see a lot of people. Niche Lady Danny just said she's on the verge of a major pivot. So pivots are two-sided. There's always a personal pivot.
Sure.
As far as, like, you know, some people get burned out. That's just part of it. Some people lose their sources. It's not that they want to stop selling cell phones. Maybe they lost a source, or the source died, or the area is bad. There's personal pivots because of your situation. There's also market pivots. And I see a lot of market pivot right now. So we see the thing like Whatnot coming into prevalence. A lot of people doing the live. It started with live YouTube auctions, and then Whatnot capitalized on that, and a lot of people doing these auctions. Instagram was big for it too. A lot of people would do live Instagram sales. So I see that as not a major, like eBay and Amazon and Posh are, you know, platforms to sell on, but these live auctions, especially for social media influencers, is a huge pivot for a lot of them. You know, Katie and Vicky were here week before last, and they started doing these Whatnot, you know, listings, not for their junk or their stuff. You know, they're going to list their $100, $200 items on eBay still, but for $20 shirts or $25 shirts, for people like them with $50 average sale prices, it's easier for them to just hold up a shirt on Whatnot and sell it for 20, and they can roll through 20, 30, 40 shirts and make $1,000 rather than trying to list it on eBay and take the photos. So it's a big pivot for them. What's up, Landshark Picker?
Yeah, you know, and again, I have that, you know, Casey, I gave Casey, I tell you guys, and again, Danny, I would love to have you on the channel one day. I would love to have you on and interview you, and you're making some great points in the chat. I appreciate it. And I tell you guys, you know, I share how I run my YouTube channel, and I share, like, I run a show with my guests, and, you know, Casey is approaching some of the questions that I brought up to, and we might as well get into it. One of my questions was, what do you think about the online YouTube auctions, and what do you think about Whatnot? Greg asked about Whatnot. Your thoughts on Whatnot, as far as as a reseller.
Okay, so Whatnot, let me tell you this. Whatnot is a very well put together app. It's very well built. It's very well targeting. They're doing a fantastic job. Their team seems awesome. I joined it. I was accepted pretty quickly. Obviously, they probably wanted my following. They do an onboarding session, which Jennifer Scott just said she just logged out of her Whatnot. So basically what that means is once they approve you, you just click on this Zoom call and they show you how to use the app.
Kind of like a training session.
Yeah, like a 30-minute, 45-minute training session. No big deal. It's very easy, straightforward. You probably don't even need the training call. It's so easy. And that's what's great. They make it really easy. So when Katie and Vicky were here, my business mind was obvious of, why do I need Whatnot? The only reason that you make money on Whatnot is because you're taking your audience and your viewership, the people that are successful, have a viewership and audience to take on Whatnot. Whatnot charges about 10.9%. It's 8% plus the 2.9 processing fee. So you're paying 10.9%. Why would I give Whatnot 10.9% when I could just, if I have a big audience on YouTube, just come here on YouTube and go live and sell to them on my own, right? And I don't got to pay the percentage. Well, Katie and Vicky were able to educate me that Whatnot prepares all the labels. It's all paid. The buyer takes care of it. They do all the payment processing and invoicing. Because when you have a live auction, and anybody who's never had a live auction, I've only done a few ever. When you have people bidding actively, if you're handling it yourself, you have to track all that, write it down, people's names. Not in Whatnot. They're just clicking bid and it automatically does it all and it sends you the sales information. So it's really clean and really, really easy, quick and simple. It is worth paying them the same percentage you pay eBay or less to handle the shipping, the labels, the invoicing, the bidders, all that stuff. Plus, Whatnot has a built-in search engine where people that are interested in your vintage t-shirts can find you that are not part of your normal audience. So yes, you can grow an audience beyond what you have. So Whatnot is definitely worth it. I was a little skeptical at first, but I think it's a fantastic app and I think it's a great route to go if you have any sort of a following. You do have to have the right kind of inventory. My inventory is a little bit not made for Whatnot, but I'm working on it. Comic books do well, vintage shirts, vintage clothes, collectibles and toys do well. Video games is a huge category on Whatnot.
Greg's making a great point. 2 words: immediate pay.
Immediate payment, yes. So the way that Whatnot works, great. When people are bidding, let's say you start the bidding at $5 and somebody bids 5 and you have $5 increments, 10, 15, 20, 25. They just keep clicking. The time runs out. Boom, Adam won $30 for your comic book. Adam has his credit card information on file with Whatnot. In order to bid, you have to submit your credit card, debit card. And when you bid, literally, as soon as the auction ends and you are clicked, Adam won, yay, chink, your debit card is just like you were standing at the store swiping it. The charge will come in within 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And so that's really great. And then what happens to your money? When you first start off, it takes a few days. You have to deliver it. So within a few days of delivery. But eventually, once you build a history, you literally can get your money almost instantly within an hour of the auction. So yeah,
so there's opportunities for sourcing and for selling. And sourcing, I think, I always say another thing, and I tell my viewers all the time, I'm into these old sayings because there's a reason these sayings have lasted all this time, because there's truth to them. Do your due diligence. I mean, you can find some deals at auctions, YouTube auctions, some deals and whatnot, but also sometimes it's just there's no profit, or maybe there's something you can buy for your personal collection, but maybe there's not enough margin to resell.
Right. I've seen a lot of people shopping on Whatnot that we're buying personally. And I saw a guy that was getting, close to eBay and sometimes less. So there's some, you can, okay, look, this is going for $40 on eBay. If I can get it for 40 or less on Whatnot for my collection, I'll bid it. And oh, look, I bid 30 and I won. I saved $10. So yeah. And that's what's great about Whatnot for the sellers, because you got a lot of buyers who are not just resellers, but they're collectors. So they're willing to buy stuff and spend a little bit more than what they usually would and still get a good deal on it. So yeah, Whatnot is great. And I'm going to add that into, I'm going to hopefully be doing my first Whatnot next week. I'm trying to get a lot of stuff together and sorted so that I can do, an opening thing. And I have some ideas for some wholesale auctions on Whatnot. I kind of think there might be an opening for me to kind of be like the wholesale guy on Whatnot, like to auction off boxes of merchandise.
But that's what Chris Lee is basically doing now. He's doing, I think he's doing daily, Monday through Friday.
Yeah. So I'm looking at like, liquidating, because I get a whole lot of non-remote control stuff that I could sell. So need influencer type numbers for higher bids, but as a buyer, yeah. So you do, as an influencer, the more followers, the more social media you have, definitely you can drive more traffic and drive the bids up. If you don't have a big audience, it may not work as well, but you can build one. It's not something to give up on. So that's one of the platforms that, I hope to add in, because that seems like a great opportunity, and hopefully they make it and everything works out. So
what would you say your percentage? Again, I know we talked earlier about adapting and changing. What would you say your percentage is? eBay, Amazon, your wholesale. Yeah. What would you say your percentages are right now?
Amazon, very low,
right.
1,500, $2,000 a month. eBay right now. So I have a public store. It's only doing, I think it's at 30-day numbers around 4,800 right now.
But you have a private store as well.
Yeah, I do have a private store. I list more like if I get some riskier items or some higher dollar items. We have a PS5 up there right now. I bought from someone. It's up for like 600 with some games. And I paid like 375 or 400 from somebody that needed money. So like that kind of item, I don't put on my public store because it's more open to trolls or fraud, and
sure.
People know that store. They can find that store. So I feel like that's more risky. I also sell my personal items on the other store because that one is in my name, like my actual personal name. So it's easier for tax purposes. Like if we want to sell any of my personal stuff, I had 4 or 5 Men's Warehouse shirts that I bought custom done for like $150 a shirt. I sold those for $50 a pop on eBay under my personal name. So just easier that way. So yeah, I mean, I do about 3 times eBay what I do on Amazon, anyway from 4 to 5, 6 grand. The other eBay store, it does a couple $1,000. It just depends if I buy anything expensive. Right. We also have some really high dollar remotes. We sold a $189 remote the other day. It's on the personal store. It drops down the thing.
What is the $189 remote? What is with that?
It's a Marantz, Marantz. If you look up Marantz,
absolutely. I remember Marantz back in the day.
Yeah, if you sort it by highest, it's an LCD full. The model number is MXC. It was an 850. Anyways, if you search for Marantz remote control, sort it by highest dollar and go solds, you'll find it. People will probably find my other store. I don't care if you find my other store. I don't publicize it to make it easy.
Right.
Yeah, so Marantz remotes. The other ones are you can look up the Genesis remotes, Genesis, Genesis 350, 450, 550 remotes. Those usually sell between 75 and 100.
Okay.
The Google Smart Touch remotes, we get those once in a while. Those go between 75 and 100. We just sold one for $69 on the regular store that people can see. Yeah. So yeah, we tend to sell all that on the normal store, but if it's really something where I'm like, I'll put it on the other store.
But the vast majority, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and I do that to keep the history, to keep the store going.
Well, sure, and that's the other thing with remotes is, and again, I want to get into that. I want to talk to you a little bit about Cassini, driving traffic, and we have a bunch of things we want to discuss. But in case she was on a roll, so I just let him go with it. But yeah, majority of my remotes that I sell are in the $10 range with free shipping. Again, that's just generating sales on the platform. Yep. Making $3, $4, $5 maybe.
Yeah, so my average sale price on remotes right now is like $20 or $21.
Okay, so you're high.
Yeah, I sell a lot of 25s, now I sell a lot of $9.99s, $11.99s, stuff like that, 10.50s, $12.99s. I sell a ton of those, but then I'll sell a $65 remote or a $45 remote, and that offsets 2, 3, 4 remotes. So yeah, it's a give or take thing. There are some clothing things mixed in there, some Donald Trump ties, other things that went for $20, $30. But yeah, the remotes float anywhere between 19 and 21. They're probably like 19.75 or 20 right now. So shipping fees average now they're up to close to $4 per remote, and the fee on $20, of course, is right around $250, $275. And then my cost of goods, I buy in huge bulk amounts. So I'm paying 50, 60 cents a remote.
Right.
So you're at $7, leaving me about 12 to 13 in profit. Even if it's 11 or 12, it's fine. But that's probably, even when you add all that up, if you're talking about my eBays, my Amazon, and what all the little bit I do on other stuff, 8 to 10 grand a month, I'm doing 10 to 12, if not some months, 14, 15,000 in wholesale.
So you're doing over 50% wholesale now.
Yeah, about 60%, close to 60% wholesale. And That is simply because of the volume. So people would say, I sell wholesale for, right now I have them up for $175 free shipping. So people are paying $1.75 for a remote landed. And if they could average, look, if they're paying $175 and let's just say they could average a net of $7 on remotes, right? 30 remotes is $210. They would only have to sell 30 remotes at a net $7 to be profitable. They really only have to sell like 28, 27. So it should not be very difficult for people to get their money back. And we sort all the ones with no backs. You don't get any with no backs. You don't get any that are broken. If they're missing buttons or crushed, those all go away. And we don't sell any cable remotes. Now, a few do come through and they go in there, but 98% of all cable remotes we get rid of. Time Warner, you can't sell. Cox, Digital, DirecTV, we don't put those in any boxes if we can at all help it. So you are 99% guaranteed to get remotes like Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, JVC, Pioneer, Kenwood, all those type of remotes that you would think. You're going to get a lot of $9.99, $10.99s. You're going to get some 15s. You'll get a few 20s, 25s. I had a guy message me last week that he sold a remote out of my box for $79.99. I'm like, well, good. Here's the thing. People always ask, well, how do we know you're not cherry picking? How do we know that you haven't gone? Currently sitting in my storage unit is 35,000 remotes that I haven't touched, untouched. Like, haven't even cut the plastic on the pallets yet. I could not in a million years go through 35,000 remotes and sort them to cherry pick them into. Now, don't get me wrong. I could spot some high dollar remotes. If you put some of those in front of me, I can spot them. But clearly, I can't spot every remote. I have no idea there's thousands of models.
So if you sold that Marantz or that Genesis, that would stand out. But
and I put some of those in boxes too, because look, if my customers don't make money, they're not going to come back, right?
True.
So, and my repeat, I'm at 65 or 70% repeat customer rate on them. So most of my customers that buy boxes again because they do well on them. They list them, they sell some remotes for 20, some for 10. All of a sudden, after a month, they realize, oh, look, I've made my $200 back, and now everything I've got up is going to be profit. So that's what we do. We box up remotes, 100-piece boxes, and we sell them for $175. Could I take that box and sell myself for $600, $800? Of course, but when am I going to list 35,000 remotes? Do you know how many people I would have to hire to? It's just not physically feasible with the amount of merchandise that I get offered. And I'm not going to turn down the merchandise. Now, me packing 100-piece remotes, I can pack those 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And so I can get done 2 boxes an hour. If I just do 4 hours, I could sell 8 boxes. If I did that for a week, I'd sell 4,000 remotes. Now I can turn that over. It's okay. In the world of wholesale, you have to accept making, like I just told everyone, I pay 60 cents a remote. Even if I'm 75 cents, I'm making $1 a remote. I make $100 a box. Mm-hmm. I offer free shipping. So they're about $20, $25. So I make $75. If I can pack even 3 or 4 boxes a day, I'm making $300 as opposed to sitting and listing them. Let other people make money. You win, I win, and I keep moving merchandise. And that's the world of wholesale. And I love it.
Just a reminder, guys, and most of you I'm recognizing the chat, and hopefully some of you are watching coming over from Casey's social media promotion. But I always list my guests' social media, and I have Casey's YouTube channel. I have it's rockstarflipper.com, so you can use that to get if you want to look into Casey's wholesale business. Again, that's all in the description of the video, guys. So after the video, if you just want to pop in and click on it, you can check out Casey's store.
And real quick, I want to say I saw Harry in here, Swamp Picker, and also, of course, Mike from Flippin' Goodies, who is not that far away from me. Vixen, I am not familiar with you. Welcome in. I see you. How does the shipping work on the platform of Whatnot? So very good question. Whatnot, actually, the buyer pays shipping. And just like you would expect on another platform, they actually set up, like you can put in the weight of the item, and it will calculate from when a buyer puts in, they have their zip code. So it calculates and sends you the label on an email, kind of similar to Poshmark-ish, sort of. And you just print the label and ship it. They also offer, you can do shipping to Canada through Whatnot now. So they are on Canada as well.
And again, I don't sell Whatnot, but they have that dollar shipping for when you do multiple items.
Yes. So they also, if people buy multiple items, you can add additional items for $1. Like, it's so good.
So you pay for the one item, and then you pay $1 additional for each additional item.
Exactly. So somebody buys a comic book and pays $5 shipping, and then they buy 4 more. It's $9 for all, 5, 6 comic books. So that's a good question. And she asked the follow-up, I'm just finishing up setting an LLC. Do I need to create another eBay account? No, you can use the same eBay account. If the eBay account is a personal, just click on your profile and you can switch to a business account. And then you can go edit your name to your business name, and you can edit the social security number to your EIN, to whatever you got as an EIN for your LLC.
Right. So Casey kind of jumbled the words a little bit, but yeah, basically you would use your EIN as your business for your eBay store.
Yeah. So
you don't have to have multiple LLCs.
No, correct. Yeah. So when you got that LLC, Vixen, you should have got an EIN with it.
Right.
And
so
now,
that's like your business. So you can sell on multiple platforms using that LLC.
Right. Yeah. And when you go into eBay, you can edit the profile, because I'm assuming you probably have your social security number in eBay as a personal. You can edit that to a business. And when you edit that to a business, it's going to ask you for your EIN rather than your social security number. And then you can put that in. So
now, Pinkgy's asking this, and again, I'm not a Whatnot seller, but I heard that was the advantage of Whatnot, the $1 additional. She's saying, didn't they eliminate that recently? Again, I'm not aware of that. I don't want to misspeak. So
I don't either, because I haven't sold yet. I just got onboarded Thursday afternoon or Friday. I just signed up, and on the training that I got on Friday, it was Friday. Yeah, it was $1 shipping still.
So Danny, did they eliminate the $1? Because I heard that was a big selling point for people who were buying multiple items because they had additional.
Yeah, that was huge.
So maybe I misspoke. Maybe they did eliminate that.
They just changed it to by weight. Was that literally like yesterday? Because I onboarded Friday. I'm certain it was Friday. And
wow, okay, that's
they told us on Friday in our onboarding training with the guy that it was $1 still.
Yes, maybe the upper management needs it this week. Okay.
Yeah, or maybe they forgot to tell their trainers.
Exactly, they should tell their trainers.
Fantastic.
All right, Danny says it happened this week. Okay, guys, so I misspoke.
There you go.
I try not to misspeak if I don't know things, but again, that was suppostously the selling point.
Oh, it started yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay.
Wow.
June 1st.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. What we said. There's no more dollar shipping.
No more dollar shipping. Yeah. So I hope to add Whatnot. I think it's great, and the bulk stuff that I do is a big part of my business, and I love it. And I still love eBay. It can sell a lot of individual items, and hopefully Whatnot can match that and do some good sales. But those are the platforms that I sell on, and I do my wholesale. I have it hosted on a Shopify store, and I also just do it direct, where people can just, email me and I can issue them a PayPal invoice or whatnot. So, that's how we do it. And our individual eBay, how do I decide what to list on eBay? It just depends. I'll pull stuff to the side and just set it to the side. I hand Kate, my fiance, does a lot of my listing because she likes photography and drafts and whatnot. So I'll just hand her a bunch of stuff and say, here, I pulled a box out for us. Go through here and list everything. And I'm going to sell all the rest wholesale. So that's pretty much our day.
You see Beer Guy's comment on the screen?
Beer Guy. Okay. Do you recommend we accept returns on the remotes? And if so, what do you think the return rate might be? If you're talking about eBay, yeah, of course, I always do returns. I do top rated plus, so I have free returns. But yeah, so return rate's not high. I can tell you what my exact percentage is right now. I'm never, for item not as described, I'm never in the, what is that? How they have the super high, regular high, medium. Yeah, I'm never ever in the super high of that. I'm usually in the medium level. I don't get it. Some of the returns that I get are because people bought something that doesn't work with the TV they have. That's an annoying one. There's really nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, especially if you have free returns. Yeah.
Yeah, and they get to ship it back, and it is what it is.
And we all know there's basically free returns on eBay. We all know that. We're not kidding anybody.
Well, my current return rate on eBay is 2.93, which I've always told people if you're between 2 and 3%, that's probably normal. Consumer electronics, my clothing and shoes is 1.37. I've only had one item out of 117 in the last 90 days of clothes and shoes returned. Other categories, I have 0%. My consumer electronics is 3.9, which is why the average is. Out of 440, I have 13 returns, and probably I would say at least 5 or 6 of those were people bought the wrong item. And out of the other 7 or 8, probably 4 or 5 item not as described. and probably half of those were false. They worked. In fact, one of them shipped back and the guy hadn't even opened it. I knew it because when we store our remotes, we tape them shut with the number, and the number's taped right at the front so we can see it, and it hadn't moved. So I knew he had not even opened it, and he's like, "It doesn't work." I'm like, "How would you know? You didn't even open it."
Well, I'm gonna make a statement, guys, and I'm not, I don't mean any offense. Obviously, test your remotes. Yeah. And I actually bought, Casey had recommended a battery tester. So I have batteries and I make sure my batteries are working before I test the remotes. And you guys all know about the cell phone, you flip around the camera and you can see the infrared. And that doesn't work on every remote, but what would you say, 95% of the remotes it works?
Yeah, most of them, yeah.
So guys, if you want, you can research that on YouTube, how to test it for remotes using your cell phone. And again, make sure your batteries are working when you test them. Make sure they're clean. Clean out the inside. Yep. Again, I mean, some people, maybe they're just shipping out in bulk. They're not testing remotes. Obviously, Casey's not, when he's shipping 100 remotes, is not testing all his remotes. Yeah. When you're selling individual remotes on eBay or Mercari or whatever, make sure you test those remotes before you send them out.
Yeah, when you're individually
selling, I always put, tested, working, batteries not included.
Right. And we do, we bought an RF tester. It was like $19 on eBay. You can just search RF tester. So if they don't have that on the front of the remote, with the red light.
You bought the RF tester as well?
Yeah, I bought the RF. I actually have a couple right here. I can show you. Let me make sure I have one of the ones that doesn't have the RF. Yeah, so this one. Okay, so these are two examples just to give you guys a heads up. So normal remotes, they have like that window right there. And so when you hit the button, I don't have batteries in this one, but when you hit the button, that light, shines a little red laser light. Right. So you'll just turn your phone on and you'll turn it to your camera in selfie mode. And then you'll just point the remote at it. Right. And you'll be able to see that red light, that infrared light. Right. There you go, light up in your screen. And so that's how you'll test it. But some of them, they don't have those. And so that's when you'll buy the RF tester, radio frequency tester. And it's one of those things, when you click it, it goes beep, 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 and it detects the radio signal. So a lot of those are like, say, the Bose surround sound. A lot of the stereo systems have that, things like that. So
do you have that linked on your videos? Do you have a link in the description?
I did in some of them. Okay. But yeah, if you just search eBay or Amazon for RF, all one word, RF tester, they pop sub $20. I think we paid $19 for ours. So they work pretty well. So that's one way to test. Yeah, all my bulk remotes, because I am selling them so cheap, are untested. So even if 10 or 20%, like I said, if you can sell 30 remotes and break even, you have 70 left. And even if you're throwing away 20% of them, you have 50 more. There's no reason why you can't make with over half the box profit. So
here's a compliment.
Yep. Many resellers I follow say there's new shipping policy. Yep. Everybody's still talking about the shipping policy. We used your service looking over our eBay account a few years ago. The advice set us up, and I've been able to go full time. Awesome, Telemaster 5.
Congratulations, Telemaster.
Appreciate you saying that, and congrats on the full time. That's awesome. Nichely, Danny, I need to buy a remote for my ceiling fan. I probably have it, Danny. Probably do. Ceiling fan remotes.
You can see like adjustable beds and was it quiet comfort and all these different things.
Yeah, a lot of the
one that adjusts the different feelings on the sides. I can't remember the name of the brand. But
yeah, crap. As if I should
number sleep number beds. Yeah, I'm sure they probably go for big money.
Yeah, the bed, the adjustable bed remotes are worth a lot. The orthopedic and the sleep number.
Yep.
The ceiling fan ones are not worth a lot.
I wouldn't think so.
But you got to have an RF tester because they don't have a laser light. They work on signals. So the RF tester for those. That's how we do that. Sleep number. Yeah, that's it. Gotcha. So yeah, that's pretty much what we do. So somebody offered or asked about returns. Yes, we do returns. So other policies. This was something Adam put in his thing. Talking about running the eBay store, right?
Yeah. Once you get into how you run your eBay store, do you do promoted listings? Obviously, you just said you have free returns. Do you do any kind of free shipping? Do you do the click to pay advertising?
Yeah. So I do.
How do you run your store?
So I do free returns and one-day handling. It gives you best, top rated plus, gives you discount on fees. You can do 50%. Well, now they offer 50% refund on anybody that changes condition they're using. But I've always done best offer. I feel like it spurs business. Now, a lot of the cheap items, if I got an item up for $12 and somebody's trying to offer me like $6, $7, like I'll drop it $1. I'll drop it $2. You're talking about 10, 20% on a $12 item, right? So I'm not willing to. If something's that cheap, I'll give you $1 or $2 off, but I'm not really trying to give you half the price. Like, if I have a $50 remote and you want to offer me 40, okay, we can talk about that. But
you do respond to even lowball offers. That's
I do. Yeah, unless it's an obvious like $1.
Yeah, somebody's offering $1 for a $50 item, right?
Yeah, but most 99% of all offers I will respond to with at least a counter offer. Like, and I'll put a little message because it takes 30 seconds. Like, okay, it's a $12 remote. You offered 6. I'm gonna respond and go, $11 or $10, whatever. And I'm gonna say, look, this is free shipping. I can do $10. I appreciate the offer. If we can make a deal, great. If not, it is what it is. So I'll just put a little message like that in there. And usually 50 to 60% of the time it results in a sale. People buy it. Or at least the very least a counter offer,
Right.
Like they might say $8 and I'll say, okay, look, like I really don't want to take less than 10. If you want to do $9, let's just get the sale done and get it out. And people are like, you're countering over $9. Yeah, because I paid 60 cents for the remote. I'm selling in volume. So that's just what I'm doing. And so yeah, I've always done best offers. I make offers to watchers because to me,
I guess you probably have something scheduled. You just do it periodically through the day where you send out offers to watchers.
Yeah, so usually it's the first thing in the morning. As I get on my computer working the first hour or two, I'm doing offers, reading messages, all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and then I'll go about my day, and then I'll check back, around dinner time, early evening, late afternoon. Like, okay, and then usually we'll have offers, or I'll have more watchers or people that are liking stuff, and I'm like, okay, let's send out some more offers. So to me, those are really great spurs. I do run sales. Now, if I run a sale and then you try to make offers on top of that, generally I'm a little more stingy about that, where I'm like, look, guys, it was $15. I put it on 20% off. Now it's 12. Now you're trying to offer me less. Come on, man. Like, you're just trying to see what you can get at this point. Like, it's not about you want to pay cheap. It's just, you just want to see what you can get. So I do run promotions, sales like that. I typically
what kind of percentage are you using? Using going rates or using like flat fee, or what kind of percentage are you?
So on my promoted listings, I do between 1% and 2%. Right now, I have 2.1.
You're back in the day, you were doing 1-2%. You kind of stuck with that.
Yeah, I've stuck with it forever. And I
remember you had the multiple listing, and then they took away the multiple listing, and now they're back allegedly to 2 listings.
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly, I always say allegedly.
Yeah. So I actually ran.
And it always sells with promoted listed. It never sells on the free listed, right?
No, of course not. It's always promoted. I ran a 2.1% right now. I'm just kind of seeing if like a lot of people run 2%, and then I run a 2.1%. I'm above a lot of them, so I'm kind of testing that out. We'll see how that goes. That was just a couple days ago. I do run sales. I like a Friday through Monday sale or a Friday through Sunday night sale.
So you pulse it, you take it off and then bring it back on. And
yeah, I don't run them for weeks and weeks because it doesn't spur any sense of urgency for the buyers. Free shipping. Yeah. Anything that's first class, I'll do free shipping on. I do charge for some stuff, but not a lot of stuff. First class, I always do free. And the formula for promoted, I run a promoted, I let it run for a couple weeks, I end it, and then I'll start a new one.
Yeah, that's another thing you should probably be pulsing. I'm sure some of us get lazy with that, but that's something you should turn off and on.
Yeah, and so that just anything to kind of spur the algorithm. And
even listings, if you pull down listings, and back in the day you said we should not sell similar, right? So you said we should sell similar, not relist. But now again, I'm saying allegedly because I don't want to give bad information. Allegedly, you can relist and you get a new eBay item number.
Yeah, so they apparently changed that because before, if you had an item with quantity, you would want to relist it because it had sales history. Right. Sell similar would issue a new item number and would make it a fresh listing. But a lot of people would just do relisting because it was easier. The sell similar actually required like a couple more clicks, and I was like, no, but then eBay did supposedly change it. I did some tests and it did change it. So at this point,
so that's why I brought that up. Okay.
Yeah, at this point, it should be okay. Like either way you do it, I will end items. Like if I see a lot of items that are just not moving, I'll end them and relist them, try to move old inventory. So you can sort your actives by the date listed or date created. And then you can if you created an item 2 years ago, it says 2020. Clearly it's not selling. And if it's not a price thing or a title or something along the easy lines, in the item and refresh it. If there's some solds on eBay similar or you're close or whatever, really that's a great way to audit yourself. Go back and look through all that. Like sort your items by oldest listed. And if you have items that were listed 2, 3, Teresa Cox, a lot of them might know Teresa Cox. Yeah. She had items that were like 9 years old. I'm like, Teresa, let it go. Let it go. Like you got an item that's 9 years old.
Well, every time I get a little upset, I'll play that song and I'll be like, let it go, let it go, let it go.
I have items right now that are 2019 and I need to go through and audit them. So that's a really good tip. I mean, yeah. And Niche Lady, Danny just asked, do I see myself as an analytical person? Yeah, I'm a huge, ooh, there's some thunder outside. I'm a huge numbers guy. I've always been that. Everybody knows that. I don't obsess over views. I don't obsess over like that. But yeah, if I'm paying attention and I see stuff that's old listings, items with no views, items where I see like, okay, there was 50 that sold on eBay last month and mine seems reasonable, but I'm not selling it. Why? Like I'll go look, I'll go dig. Especially if it's like a higher dollar item. Like if I realize I've had a $50 remote for 4 months, why? Obviously it's a $50 remote. People want it. It's selling. What's going on with it?
What's wrong? Is the title wrong? Is the description wrong? Is the pricing wrong?
Yeah, right. So auditing yourself is always stormy Florida, resale warrior. Yeah, yikes. Yeah, I just saw some lightning. What's the best to ship a single remote? Just bubble wrap, bubble envelope. We wrap a piece of bubble wrap, stick it in an envelope. Actually, I have one of those sitting here too. Look, I'm actually quite prepared. So, yeah, just a regular bubble envelope, and then you can just bubble wrap a piece.
Let me take Ed's comment off. Okay, I'll bring it back, Ed.
Yeah, so I'll just stick, wrap some bubble wrap, goes right in there, and we have longer ones in case they're taller like that. But that's
I just wrap it in bubble wrap, and then I have a bubble wrap Mylar bag.
Yep, and so either way,
bubble wrapped. Yeah,
either way is a great way to do it. Yeah. So
and another thing too is if people buy multiples, you can combine shipping and just remember upload the tracking to both. So
to both items. Correct. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I want to bring some of these questions up.
10 things you see resellers doing in their business that they should.
Let's see. I'm sorry, I interrupt you. Okay. That's one of the questions I actually had for Casey. Good question, SC, and I have some other questions for Casey as well. You want to do the 10? You want to read that up now?
Yeah, we can bring that because he says, what advice do you wish you were given when you first started reselling? Let me answer that one because
that's one of my questions too. Yep.
Yeah. So this is a great thing. The best advice that I was given is don't spend the money, reinvest it, and only pay yourself what you need because you always have to build. Like if you're selling $1,000 a month and it's costing you say $200 or $300 and you want to sell 10,000, well, that's 10 times. It's going to cost you $2 or $3 grand to buy that much inventory to sell that much. So you're going to have more money to reinvest and more money. It's a question I get when people are like, oh, I want to quit my full-time job. I make $5,000 a month and now I'm making $5,000 on reselling. Well, that's fantastic. What money are you going to use to buy other inventory? Because your $5 grand has to pay you for your bills. So the answer is always
that's gross sales. You got to have gross profit as well. You got to pay tax. Remember, you got to pay taxes
and tax
on that gross profit as well.
Right, because you don't have a job taking out of your paycheck.
Exactly. You got to take the tax. But
so always have extra money and reinvest it in anything that you make. Reinvest. Like always put the money back in until you have so much inventory and so much money that you can play with whatever money you want. So
that was one of my questions I had for Casey. What would the current Casey, reselling for 15-ish years? Tell the new Casey, if he knew back in the day, what would he tell him? What things would he do differently?
Stop blowing money. Literally stop blowing money. Because back then, when I went from making $2,000 or $3,000 a month to making $6,000-7,000 a month,
you were spending like a rock star.
I was a rock star. I was King Tut. I was King Tut, and we went on 5 cruises in 2 years.
Right.
We were eating at Burns restaurants, $300 for a dinner. Yeah. And now, today, Casey, sure, I can do that. Like it's fine. But
occasionally, right? But
But back then I was making 50-60 grand. I had no business doing the things that I did. Right. Buying a Hummer was probably not the smartest thing, but it wasn't terrible. It was $450 a month, which wasn't astronomical. The gas and everything eventually became a pain in the butt, but even that was probably a little overboard. But the other stuff I did was ridiculous. I mean, $3,000, $4,000 cruises and $300 dinners twice a month, three times.
Don't forget the drinks on the cruises too. How much?
The drink. Our bill one time on one of the 5-day cruises was $1,700, and it was it was in 5 days. So you're talking about what, $350 a day worth of drinking and food. You got your food, so that was extra stuff. Yeah, so bingo and gambling and alcohol, and I don't even gamble, but when I was on the cruise ship, I did. So spending that kind of money today to me would just be like, okay, we had a vacation. I make far more money than I made then. But back then I had no business doing that. So the advice I always give to myself is pretend like you don't have it and save it, reinvest it, use it. Don't just blow money. Like people start making a few dollars and they blow it. Like they just, lack of a better word, they pee through it real quick.
Right. And kind of in that same vein, I written to you in pre-show. What are 10 things you see resellers doing in their businesses that they should or should not be doing to be successful?
10 things. So I took some notes.
Okay.
And really, to me, the reinvesting is one. Like a lot of people blow the money. The reinvesting is always one.
Right.
The second note that I took is they always this is just obsessive with me. There's people that don't accept returns. They want to fight the platform. They're their own worst enemy. They shoot themselves in the foot. They
doing business. It's going to happen.
Yeah, especially doing business. They don't want to take returns. They don't want to listen to customers. Every time the customer's wrong. And yes, there are some bad customers. Don't get me wrong. Please, I believe it. And I know it and I deal with them. But you have to be open. Like it is what it is. Like take returns, take stuff. Like just do what you have to do. Don't give up $1,000 in sales because you're worried about $25 in returns or $50 in returns. People do that all the time. The third thing is not being open to other platforms. This is always a big one. List Perfectly, a huge cross-listing platform. There's other ones. Just all your eggs in one basket. Huge mistake. Those are the three big ones.
Sound like me, Casey, with all these old sayings. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
All your eggs in one basket. It happens. I see people all the time. Or I see people.
Like you said with the auction. The auction went out of business.
Exactly. Yeah. Thinking small. I put a little note to myself here for this. This is one of my bigger ones. Thinking small. People that are insistent on always living through the thrift stores, like this is all they're going to do and they never change. But they want to grow. Well, if you're going to keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep being at the same number, right? So like if you're making $3,000 a month going to thrift stores, you're probably and you're maxed out. Like your time is maxed out, right? You're probably not going to go.
A lot of time to go for, and we all but most of us complain about the prices at Goodwill now. And if you go from thrift store to thrift store to thrift store, and $4.50, $5 a gallon for gasoline, you might spend $20-$30 in a day in the course of gasoline. Exactly. Plus your time. Time is money.
And
you may not find anything.
Yeah, and you're only one person. Even if you're finding a few things, you're only one person. You're capped at how much time you have. So on top of having to come back and list it. So that's kind of the thing, like think bigger and try to find a source. Like even it doesn't have to be a wholesale source like necessarily I have. You could find somebody who's a storage unit buyer local to you who hates clothes, right? And Adam buys 2 storage units a week, but he can't
listen to my channel.
So he can't stand clothes, and so you call Adam every week and you're like, hey man, I know you hate clothes, I'll buy your clothes. And so every Friday Adam calls you with bags and bags of clothes. Now you have a source. He's not a wholesaler in the sense of what we would think of, but he's a source, right? He's a direct source where you can get 50, 100, 200 pieces of clothes all in one shot without having to go store to store. Because when you start thinking about, I'm going to meet up with Adam for an hour, I'm going to go through his stuff and buy 50 pieces, 100 pieces. How long would it take you to go to thrift stores to get 50 or 60 or 80 pieces of clothes, right? If you're only coming out with 10, 15, 20 pieces, you spent an hour in a thrift store, 30 minutes driving, you're going to have to go to 4, 5, 6 thrift stores over a course of 2 days. You're going to spend 16 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours. What you just spent an hour sitting there going through one person's bags, and now you're all set, right? So think bigger, work smarter, not harder. That's probably a huge tip. So it's always about, scalability. People don't like that word, but it's true. Scalability is a huge word. That was kind of, those 4 or 5 things are like huge. It's hard because there's a lot of mistakes.
Well, researching pricing, and that was one of the questions I had for you too. How do you research pricing and trends? I mean, what are you using? Are you using?
I use Solds. If there's not a lot of history, I will look at Terapeak.
I would ask you, do you use Terapeak or okay?
Yeah, I use Terapeak for eBay. If there's not a lot of history on some of my stuff, but most of my stuff is pretty straightforward. But I know there's a lot of people that buy different, antiques or collectibles or what have you. So if there's not a lot of sold history, you can go look at the Terapeak history line for the last 6 months or last year or whatever, because the eBay solds only default to 90 days. I don't use WorthPoint. I don't have a lot of unique collectible stuff, but I know that's.
Right. But if you're doing collectibles, and again, guys, you didn't hear this from me, but make friends with people that have WorthPoint.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. And then you can look at actives. I do look at actives because sometimes there's remotes that'll have like 1 or 2 solds, but they'll be like 10 or 15 active, and I know like I can figure out where to price it based on there's a bunch of Chinese knockoff ones, there's a bunch of OEM ones that are priced $99, and I'm like, that's a $30 remote, what are you doing? Are you crazy? So then I can immediately go, okay, nobody's going to buy the Chinese knockoffs, nobody's going to buy the $99 ones. I'm going to price mine at $29.99, and it sells. Like, it's just boom, it's gone. And it's not that I underpriced it, it's that's what it's worth, and there's none other available, so people bought it. So we're having storms in Dover, Florida. I used to live, Lucky Charm Wendy, I used to live right near Dover. She's probably familiar in Valrico. We're getting storms in Wesley Chapel right now. It's not terrible, but I've heard a little thunder and rain. So nothing bad. Hopefully we're still good. So yeah, that's how I do all my pricing research. Mainly just holds a little bit of Terapeak when I need it, but that's pretty much all I need.
Okay, I'm going to combine a couple things that I have written down here. In your opinion, what drives views or sales through Cassini, the eBay algorithm? And what do you feel is the magic number of daily listings that we need to list on eBay to cause higher search rankings and more consistent sales?
The two things that drive the algorithm 100% is activity, listing new inventory, rotating inventory, things like that. Just activity is like the one word I would put on that. And there's no secret magic number, but if you're in one of the saturated categories or one of the categories which most of us are in,
like clothing, used clothing,
clothing, shoes, even some of the jewelry categories, remotes are even probably fall in that. But if you can list 10 a day, that's probably solid. It's probably a solid starting point. And if you can do them in 10 minutes, that's 100 minutes. You can do it in an hour and a half, call it 2 hours at most. You should be listing 5 to 10 an hour. If you can get 15 or 20 up, that's much better. We notice when we get 20, 30 remotes up in a day, we have a really good day. If we list 5 or 10, it's probably not so good. But yeah, 10 is the magic number. 15 or 20 is better. And it's really not that hard. So I'm getting severe weather alerts off my watch. So we'll keep an eye out. I'm looking out the window. It's not terrible yet, but I'm waiting for it. Yeah, so I think that is the activity.
So you would say a minimum of 10. And again, guys, and I apologize for sounding like a broken record. Build up your drafts. If you can put together a bunch of listings in one day, you're banging out the listings. Put some in your draft file so you can list. Maybe one day you're going to outsourcing, so you can upload all those drafts and your listings.
Right. So then, like the other like if you're in a video game category or like a video game system or a high end category, you may not need to list as much because that kind of stuff sells itself.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, do you think free shipping helps? Yes, the algorithm is definitely triggered by free shipping. A lot of buyers search for that right off the top. So that can definitely be helpful. I do free shipping on all first class. I tend to charge on a lot of my priority stuff. Some of it I don't, but a lot of it I do. So those are all things like keep active, keep fresh, and make sure that you're putting up a solid amount of listings. And yeah, I mean, the free shipping can definitely help. If you're top rated plus, that can help as well.
Another thing that you had brought up to me, so the summer slowdown, countering bad sales. So is there anything additional that we should be doing?
Working harder. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about summer slowdown. People are at the beach, people at the barbecue, at the lagoon on vacation. They're not on their computers. They're not shopping as much. Any extra money they have was diverted to plane trips and train trips and bathing suits and what have you. So yeah, it's harder. It's harder to convince people to buy stuff right now, especially if you have a want, a splurge item. People don't need comic books. They don't need video games. They don't need, a new vintage.
They're a want, not a need necessarily.
Yeah, they don't need a new vintage Garth Brooks shirt. It's a want. It's a splurge. So it's hard. It's harder to convince people to part with their money for that sort of thing, especially with the economy the way it is. And gas.
Ed had brought that up earlier. How can we counter that? What do you think we can do? I mean, it's
more inventory. A lot of people are desperate.
Available.
Yeah, a lot of people are desperate for money right now, and they're getting more desperate-ter, a word, more desperate. Yeah. Increased desperateness.
Okay.
So yeah, so it could be time to score some inventory cheap. I talked about it in a video last week. Cash is king, buying power, and if you get stuff cheaper, you have more room to haggle. So definitely can help.
Thought is the question: how much should a person spend cleaning and testing a $100 item?
Depends what you paid on it. If you paid $60 and you're only going to make $10-15 after fees, probably not too long. But
yeah, exactly.
If you paid $10 for it, you put a little time into it. Yeah. So.
Okay, and you had mentioned to me eBay views at 0. Is it because you didn't get views? Is the 30-day count wrong? Is it a glitch or no views for real? Yeah. What's going on?
So I did a video on this last week. I have a follow-up video recorded. It's actually edited. It's ready to post at some point in the next day or two. We don't know. That's a really bad answer. Some people had 0 views and an item sold. Like it displayed 0 views and it sold. So was the first person that clicked on it the person that bought it, or did it just glitch and it didn't actually, it had 10 views, but it never showed? We don't know. We can't prove that. And eBay says that the views are okay, but then we've got people that have an item with 0 views, but 3 watchers. Well, how do they have watchers if no one clicked on it, right? So obviously it's not displaying the right amount of views. Or you really didn't get any views and the item's just not being displayed by the algorithm at all. So again, we don't have a way to prove that. What do we do? I don't know the answer to that. I've asked eBay and they just say that everything's fine. So I put out a video, a follow-up. I didn't do it on my first video, or I'm putting out a follow-up. I didn't do it on my first video, where I actually go through my active listings through the view count and the watcher count to see if any of mine are glitched. And I don't want to spoil it, but it's pretty much what I expected. It's pretty much what I expected. The items that are better have a lot of views, and the items that suck have like 0 views or 1 view, right? So in my experience, it seems like the view counts are correct for my listings. I don't show any that have watchers with no views. Anything that has watchers shows a view count. Older items have more views because they've been up longer. But now with the 30-day view count, that should catch up with itself. I don't know. I think there's probably some people experiencing glitches and some people not, just like typical with eBay, right?
Yeah. Sometimes people, there's the glitches with the item specifics. I mean, some people were having all kind of problems, and other people were having minimal amount of problems.
Yep. Happened today with an ashtray from Viction, 0 views and it sold, which would imply that you had 0 views and the first person that actually clicked it bought it, or you actually legitimately had views that it just wasn't displaying.
And how do you get watchers on an item if you have 0 views?
Exactly. So we know that's a glitch. We know that's definitely a glitch. But beyond that, who knows anymore with eBay? Whenever they update anything, it goes haywire.
I had a few more questions I want to ask Casey, guys. And again, I tell you guys, again, if it ask me anything, we don't have an opportunity to have Casey on often. So again, if you have any questions for Casey, just put a Q in front of it. It makes me easier for me to find it in the chat. So again, if you have your questions, guys, ask them now, because we might not have Casey on for a while. I hope we will.
Yeah, I'll come back in the next, what are we, in June?
Yep, maybe towards the end of the year or early next year.
Yeah, we'll come back over the summer, a month or 2, 3.
Beautiful. Okay, guys. I'm trying to think what else I have here. Okay. I had a question for you about wholesale. And again, the more I resell, the more I get sourcing opportunities. I mean, I'll go out sourcing at yard sales and garage sales, and maybe I'll pick up 3, 4 items, and I'll hit 10 yard sales. Or I'll go to Goodwill and I don't find anything worthwhile buying. So again, I feel there's a need for probably for most of us, and again, especially if we're doing this. I'm doing it part-time because I have health issues, but basically this is my job, right now.
Yeah.
So how would you say developing a wholesale sources? Where would you research it? Do we need an LLC? Do we need a tax cert? How would you? And I think you've done videos on this before, but how would you suggest we would handle that?
So you can operate as a sole proprietor till the end of time, which is basically just as an individual with your social security number. And you don't have to do much to do that. You can basically just most states, almost every state just has a basic registration, a Department of Revenue or a business website. Like for Florida, it's called sunbiz.org. Mm-hmm. And you just register, you choose sole proprietor, and then you give them your social security number. In the state of Florida, I think it's $50 a year for the whole year. And then you can choose to either operate under your name, or you can buy what's called a DBA, fictitious name. So let's say you're Casey Paris and you want to operate as Rockstar Flipper, mm-hmm. And you can just buy that name, which I own. I own that name in Florida. And my company name is actually Worldwide Sales LLC. I own an LLC. So the second option, instead of choosing sole proprietor, you choose LLC. I believe it's $137 in Florida a year. So it's a little more expensive because you do get some protections of being an LLC. Not as many as some people think, but you do get quite a few protections, liability protections. And then
they would want a tax cert, obviously. It's so you don't have to pay sales tax.
Yeah. So your second step on that website, they'll give you a place to click and download your sales tax certificate, which is free. You just download it. You're supposed to display it. If you have a home business, you'll display it somewhere. Don't come for me. I'm sorry. If you knock on my door, I'll pull it out of my folder. That's it. You download the sales tax certificate. And if you go anywhere, you can make copies of it to take with you. And then there are some cities and states, municipalities that require a an occupational license or a to do business.
If you're doing business out of your home.
Right. Yeah, some counties. So
I don't know what they call it, but yeah.
In Florida, it's called an occupational license. So any
Okay.
business that operates as a home business or has a location, like even if you have like a private little office that no one comes in and out of, I think it's like $30 a year here. Not everywhere. If you operate out of like the city of Bradenton, which is a little town about 30 minutes south here, they don't require it. I have a friend that does business there. They don't have to pay for that. So you have to just check with your local city, state, county, municipality. But beyond that, that's all we need here in Florida. Register our business, get our sales tax certificate, and if you need your county, occupational license, and you're off and rolling. When you file your taxes with the IRS, you'll fill in that business information or your sole prop and your social or your EIN. They give you an EIN, obviously, if you filed for that, and you're all set. You're done. There is no reseller license. There's something called a secondhand dealer license.
Right.
What
is that? What is a wholesale? What are they looking for? And I know back in the day, I used to subscribe to a wholesale website, so to speak, and he pretty much went out of business. So how do we research? How do we find wholesalers in our area or locally?
Yeah, so they're looking for a sales tax certificate. They need to put your sales
definitely have to have a sales tax certificate.
Yeah, they got to put that on file so that they don't have to be responsible for that sales tax. Because as a reseller, you don't pay the tax. The person that pays the tax is called the end user. They're the person buying your merchandise to use it, to keep it. If they're planning on flipping it, that's why we have a sales tax certificate, so we don't have to pay it. But yeah,
a DBA or an LLC, I would assume.
Yeah, you can do it either as a sole prop or as an LLC. Right. Anybody can get that sales tax certificate, and any company can sell to you as either type of entity.
Require any kind of credit app or anything? Somebody's
nope. The sales tax certificate, literally, once your business is registered, they'll give it to you. Like, it literally is a 5-minute thing. They just need your information.
No, I meant to purchase from a wholesaler.
No, most of them, they just want the sales tax certificate. As long as what does the old saying say? As long as the check clears, they don't care. Okay. Like, they'll sell to you. They just have
they want you to pay in advance, obviously. So yeah.
Yeah, you have to pay up front. None of those companies will give you lines of credit until you build history with them. There are some that will. But to find them, so Google, obviously, you can just Google your local area, like Tampa wholesale companies, Tampa return pallets, Tampa whatever. Bstock.com is the biggest one in the whole country. They sell pallets, returns, Amazon, Sears, Kohl's, you name it. They sell it. Best Buy, Home Depot, Walmart, Target. They get pallets of return and customer.
Be careful with Walmart returns.
Yeah, be very careful with a lot of that. Do your due diligence, your research. The second place is wholesale. I used to offer a Shopify wholesale business where I would flip other people's merchandise. I partnered with a company called Wholesale. It's HAULSALE. And they put all the lots up for sale on their site now. And I just refer it over, and everyone goes and buys and sells just like they would have off of me. Hard goods, makeup, electronics, clothing, shoes, you name it, they have it. Craft stuff. There's 500 lots up right now, over 500, I think. So yeah, so you can do Google searches. You can go to Bstock, you can go to Wholesale, you can go to shopgoodwill.com, has lots. You can look up liquidations.com, but be very, very careful.
Yeah.
If you're good with Alibaba and you know how to use it, private label.
Another one to be very careful with.
Be very careful with these, but there's all kinds of different, things. You can go make deals with your local thrift stores and Salvation Armies to buy out their inventory that they don't have out on the floor.
That's the thing too. I mean, it doesn't always work, but again, guys, sometimes I make intelligent statements. I tell you guys, network.
Yeah, the guy
make friends with the managers of your Goodwill.
Yeah, the guy in Texas.
Friends with the clerks. They'll keep stuff in the back room for you. I've heard stories time and time again.
One-stop people will make deals for you. Storage unit buyers will make deals with you.
Right.
Stuff they don't want. The guy in Texas.
Yeah, like I said, make connections with storage unit buyers. I mean, they don't want to sell clothing, or maybe they don't want to sell electronics, or maybe they don't want to sell furniture. Not that I want to sell furniture, but if you have an opportunity, maybe get it on the cheap.
Did you just see that?
Yeah. Well, we have just a few more questions. We're going to wrap it up. The Casey said he's going to be on again, guys. So we're going to hold it to him.
Hopefully the power holds out. That just flashed.
Let's answer just a few more questions, and I'm going to have you, close out the show. But Todd had a question. Do you time the market? Last week you listed 200 thermal long underwear. Well, again, it's winter sometimes, especially if you have the global shipping program.
Is it winter?
Nothing we didn't even get into, but
is it winter in Australia?
Maybe. I think it is. But again, again, guys, I got to mention Beth, Reseller Robot, almost every show. Beth says, cover ups, shorts, bathing suits. This is the time. You should have listed them a month ago.
Yep.
But,
what's going on with the payments for offers? I'll just jump in real quick.
Yep.
Still in beta, still working on it. No update. Did a video about a month ago, 2 months ago, and it's coming. They're very slow. We know eBay, so that's really, there's no update.
They said they were going to require immediate pay, but they never did.
It's in beta. That's all I've heard.
Okay. All right, guys. Again, any last minute questions for Casey? And I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to do a little promotion for myself here.
Yes.
One other thing I want to mention too. Let me just mention this real fast, guys. I posted this in my Facebook group, and I basically have promotions running on the channel. Basically from Nightbot to tell you guys about my YouTube channel and subscribe, and I tell you about my Facebook group. But one thing I just recently posted in the Facebook group, and I wasn't aware of this, Casey probably was, but I watch a channel on YouTube. It's about buying deals and getting deals at the wholesale clubs and different places. And one of the things he did recommend, which I wasn't aware of, he goes, is that when you go to Walmart, again, guys, I always tell you, make sure you have the Walmart app, because a lot of times the clearance prices aren't correct, or so you want to make sure you log into the Wi-Fi at the Walmart that you're currently at. And have the app updated, make sure the app is updated. But one thing that this particular video, when I posted in the Facebook group, is that you can actually have them match prices on Walmart.com. So if you go in a store and you scan something in clearance and it's a lower price on Walmart.com, again, I'm going to say allegedly, you can go to the clerk and they will match that price. So
they will. They're supposed to. If the clerk declines to ask for a manager, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So again, guys, that's something I wasn't aware of, and again, so that's what I tell you guys. I'm always trying to research different things and try to find different videos and things that help you guys out. Follow the reselling, emails and different things, and try to find out more things to help you guys. So anyway, and one of a few things I'm just going to mention real fast. Again, guys, I tell you guys, I don't get paid on this channel. It's a free channel, so I have Buy Me Coffee, Cash App, PayPal, etc. And Randy is also kind enough to pay me a small commission if you buy a thing from Facing.com. You just register with AE during your name and Randy's website. Again, I mentioned earlier about Randy. He's a great guy and has a tremendous business where he sells old-fashioned candy.
He does.
Teas and spices.
He has sent me all the above. He has sent me candy and tea, all phenomenal stuff. He sent me peanuts, carnival peanuts.
There you go. Right, so it's all that old-fashioned candy you can't find, or if you do find it, like places like Wegmans, it's like like $12 a pound now. Randy has it probably for a third cheaper.
Yep.
Okay. Did you want to talk anything about, again, your wholesale site, your YouTube channel, whatever you want to talk about?
Yeah, if anybody, the easiest thing for anybody is rockstarflipper@gmail.com. If you have questions, comments, concerns, anything about any of that. I saw some more questions roll in, and I'll just hammer them real quick. Best bookkeeping practice, GoDaddy is gone. QuickBooks, the most well-known one. I am partnered with a company called My Reseller Genie right now. They are small. They are mom and pop. They are adding features all the time. They're up and coming, growing. They have a great product that does more than QuickBooks with the inventory system. So I think they're eventually going to outpace QuickBooks, and they are much cheaper. Obviously, they're smaller, so something like that. Business insurance, Ashlyn Haddon. That's Ashlyn, ASHLIN HADDEN. Ashlyn is not an affiliate of mine. I'm not sponsored by her. It's not allowed by insurance agents to do that outside of the state, but she offers liability insurance. You can get it as cheap as I think Kate's photography is $41 a month, and my business is like $44 a month, and that includes $50,000 in coverage for my inventory. So, which my homeowners won't cover because the business inside the house. So I got an outside plan, and I think literally it's $44 a month. So all stuff that you can do. And I thought it was funny. Adam is the smartest reseller in the world without being a multimillionaire. So good comment, silver hair stacker. But yeah, so you can email me.
Silver hair like me. Well, I don't have a lot of silver hair anymore, but
I don't got any of it. So, yeah, just email me, rockstarflipper@gmail.com. If you have regular reseller questions, you can forward them to Adam and he'll send them to me. Check out the YouTube channel, Rockstar Flipper. If you look for me on any social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube here, you can find me on any of that. And I do have wholesale deals. I can link you wholesale. I can link you any of these questions. Reseller Genie, accounting, Ashlyn, I can send you the links for any of those. So rockstarflipper@gmail.com, the best way to get in touch with me. I can send you the links. Typically, I have discount codes for any of those if you need. And if there's anything
They have
else,
a discount code for List Perfectly.
yeah, LP also is one. Yeah, so you can hit up Adam if you need, and if you need him to forward it, you can tell him, hey, just forward this to Casey, or just email me directly, rockstarflipper@gmail.com.
Guys, I respond to all your comments. I apologize. Somebody posted something in my Instagram. It got hidden in my spam file on my Instagram, and I did respond today. So I respond to all the comments on the video and any Instagram messages. Again, I'm like Casey. I don't get hundreds a day, but I respond to all your comments, and I appreciate that.
Not that I say I used to, yeah. Thankfully, it slowed down a little bit, but and I do appreciate all the messages, but it did start to take a toll.
To the point where, yeah,
it took a toll.
Yeah, you're on your iPad in bed, I guess, answering all these messages.
Yeah, late night, sitting on the phone or computer, I answered 20, 30, 40 messages and emails just sitting in bed, and then when I would wake up, there'd be 20, 30 more. I'm like, Jesus. So yeah, that's the best way to get me. Rockstarflipper@gmail.com. Anything else I can handle there? Definitely.
Super. Okay, guys, I always say time is your most valuable asset. I'd like to thank Casey for his time, and also those of you that are here for the live and watching the replay. Please remember to leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're getting value out of this, turn notifications on, and leave a comment. It helps the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. So we will be live again next Wednesday, God willing. I want to thank Casey for rescheduling, and keep chewing in your thoughts and prayers. And
I want to thank my dog for eating chicken bone wings.
Right. So, guys, again, so I hope we'll see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Good night.
See you then. Thanks, everyone.